Hey, you cool cats and kittens. It's me, not Carol Baskins. Just letting you know that I didn't read any of the comic books, so I don't know how sure that you want to watch this, but maybe you won't like the video as much as others might, because you might be a real comic book nerd that want to crucify people that have no comic book knowledge and say that movies are fun to watch, even though you don't like it because it doesn't stick to the original a lot. I just want to give you a fair warning that if you're this type of person, you should probably shut this off. Okay? Alright, let's get started. Goodbye. Or hello, actually. Yeah.
¿Cómo está, Esteban? We are back, but this time I will not be going over streams. Well, technically this is streaming, and all others are streaming like it over all the films that we're going to go over. But the main event of PopCorn Poppin is the Snyder Cut. I don't call it Justice League. I don't call it, well, Justice League is Joss Whedon's Justice League. The shitty Justice League. The Justice League we don't talk about. I don't call it Zack Snyder's Cut. I don't call it Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't call it HBO Max's Justice League. I barely even use J or L. All I use is the Snyder Cut. Having said that, let's talk a little bit about the Snyder Cut. But before we begin, we're going to have to go over a little bit of history. For instance, the reason that you may be hearing about all this hoopla and you don't even watch superhero movies, you may be very, very confused. I didn't think that many souls were confused until I had to explain it to a friend of mine and to my mother, who hates superhero films. Kraft, he doesn't hate them, but he doesn't watch them, which means he's a hater. But he claims that he will watch them one day. He hasn't even watched the MCU. But I digress. My mother didn't watch them, but she wanted to watch Jason Momoa without his shirt and Ben Affleck. And I told her, I tried to explain how it all went down. I tried to explain the entire Zack Snyder universe without the DCEU in general. We're not going to go into all of DCEU because we got The Suicide Squad premiering later on this year. Very, very excited about it. But now we get into what we all want to hear about. And that is Man of Steel. We don't want to hear about Man of Steel specifically, but now we're finally entering the universe. Now, when was the last Superman movie? I think it was Superman Returns, starring Brandon Routh and Kevin Spacey, but we don't say his name anymore. So that older guy. I liked that movie. Not many other people's did. So now they decided to reboot it with Henry Cavill in Man of Steel. Now, to pop or not to pop? I say pop. I enjoyed it. I liked Superman Returns more, to be honest. However, this one had Michael Shannon and way better fight scenes, so I did enjoy it. So now we got the start of a very, very dark series that Zack Snyder is trying to catapult into theaters, because this is the first of the DC Comics movie universe. And we are expecting all this to lead to Justice League. And there are only little hints that Batman's going to arrive. And it really depends on how much money Man of Steel is going to make. And so, instead of getting a standalone Batman film, we get Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, the original cut that was released in theaters, he is known for his extended cuts. And his extended cuts are usually more raw. And they are, I guess, better. Watchmen, not so much. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the extended version, is the one you need to watch if you're trying to watch these films in order to lead yourself into the Snyder Cut. I was mixed about Batman v Superman. I think I still am. Every time I watch it, I'm like, there are a lot of scenes I like. I like Batfleck. I like Batfleck. I love Gal Gadot, or Gal Gadot, or Gal. I don't think it's Gal. I think it's Gal. Even though it's an A. I liked the movie overall. I didn't hate it, but it was difficult for me to love it, because this is something that people my age, at least, if you are okay with DC, you've been waiting for all your life. And it just wasn't up to par, I would say. But at least the extended edition had a lot more violence, and at least we got Batman killing people, which some purists do not like whatsoever, but I thoroughly enjoyed Batman killing people. I liked it a lot. We got Man of Steel, we got Batman v Superman, which after Batman v Superman, in Batman v Superman, we're introduced to Batman and Wonder Woman. But where's the rest of the crew? I'll tell you where they are. Appear in Justice League. Now, Justice League was released under Zack Snyder's name, even though it was not his vision. If you don't know, there was a family tragedy with Zack Snyder. His daughter passed away, so he decided to leave production when he didn't finish the film. Production company swooped in, said, no, I don't want this movie, and decided to get rid of the vision and bring in the guy who did one of the biggest movies ever, Avengers 1. I don't know how Avengers 2 did, but I'm sure it did well as well. But everyone praised Joss Whedon at the time. He was a genius at the time. Now, he may still be a genius, but no one would want to admit it because he has done very, very bad things. But I love Buffy, I love Angel, and I love Dollhouse. And I love Firefly. And I love Serenity. But I don't want to get political. In either case, he is a shitty human being because of all these stories. And he's a shitty human being for fucking up Justice League this bad. But I do believe that it was the production company that made it worse besides him. I think he was just like, they were like, hey, shoot this. Okay, keep giving me money. And then he decided to yell and berate women and then shot whatever. Justice League is released. Everyone hates it. It makes a lot of money, but everyone hates it. So the DCEU decides to go in a completely different route and do standalone films and never have another Justice League ever again. The fans want a Snyder Cut. They demand a Snyder Cut. And then it didn't happen. They said it would never happen. Then the world went to shit. The apocalypse almost happened with coronavirus. So there's only one thing that we can do to save everybody, and that is release the Snyder Cut on HBO Max and make it 4 hours long. To pop or not to pop, I say to pop. It was way better than the original Justice League. Granted, it was 4 hours long, but the original Justice League, not to pop whatsoever. The original Justice League was just clunky and mashed together. Cyborg was hardly in it. Aquaman was more of a bro, as opposed to the smoldering man that we have in Aquaman. We have 3 different versions of Aquaman, and that is the one that James Wan brings in Aquaman, which is basically how Jason Momoa is. The one in Justice League, which is basically a surfer dude who drinks a lot in Joss Whedon's version. And we have the Snyder Cut, where he's just kind of a dick. He was still good in it. It's not his fault. It's weird to see 3 different versions of one character. Very, very strange. Wonder Woman was great, but more so in the new Justice League. You have her straight up murdering people as well. Just very weird to see. But she straight up murdered people in that bank. You watch the way she throws someone against the wall. She murders people. And I liked Wonder Woman more in the Snyder Cut than I did in the original, because she straight up murders people. Also, Gal Gadot is absolutely, probably, to be honest, but she was very good in it. And she whoops ass and she murders people. Not to say that's good, and this is coming from a guy that is not that big into comic books, but I do love movies. And I like the way they did things with characters. And it was basically like a miniseries because they broke it up into parts, which made it much easier to follow. You have concentration on basically 2 characters at a time. I didn't like Flash in the original Whedon version of Justice League. Not that I disliked him. I just didn't see what the hoopla was. I like Ezra Miller. I think he's a great actor, especially when we need to talk about Kevin. But in Whedon's Justice League, I'm like, yeah, he's all right. But I loved him in Snyder Cut. And they got rid of that whole giant scene where he saves a girl from the street using his fastness. And that fastness was pretty dope. I don't know why they would get rid of a scene like that. But I think that they were scared that people would get stuck to the seat for too long, or the production company couldn't think of actual good shit and decided to clump up the bad. The Snyder Cut is very good. And Cyborg was treated with justice. League. By treated with justice, I mean he was basically the heart of the movie. It's just, the biggest thing I disliked about the movie was that it wasn't Cyborg from Teen Titans. I miss that Cyborg. It's a fun Cyborg. And this one's very depressed. But then I took a step back and I thought, well, his life does kind of suck. I mean, having those superpowers is great and everything, but he feels responsible for his mom's death. His dad eventually dies, spoiler. And he has every reason to be very, like, I'm a robot, and I'm fucking angry about it. And I didn't dislike him at any point in the movie. But I didn't truly, like, love him until way later in the movie. I liked him throughout. Like, I'm like, okay, this guy is good. This guy has depth. This gets to show Ray Fisher's ability as an actor better. And it's a well-rounded story as opposed to a Chuck-in story, basically. And that scene was when they're all standing lined up in slow motion. The Flash puts up daps and looks at Cyborg. Cyborg does not look at him, but does this back. And I just love the Flash, like, he dapped me. I'm part of the Justice League. This is amazing. Yeah, I like the Flash a lot in this movie more. And in general, the movie is worth watching. However, for a lot of other people, it's not worth watching. I have friends that hate DC movies in general. If you hate DC movies in general, don't watch it. If you like Batman and Superman, you should give it a shot. You don't need to rewatch Justice League. But if you do want to find out the differences better, it might be a good idea to rewatch Justice League. I tried and I couldn't do it. I'm done with the Whedon version. But the Snyder Cut may have a couple more watches left, honestly. I'm thinking it does. Do you? Maybe not. But it was so good that my mom didn't like any of the movies I told her to watch before Justice League, Snyder Cut. I told her to skip Justice League and to watch Wonder Woman after Batman v Superman. And she didn't care for any of them. She hated Wonder Woman, but she loved Justice League. So that was kind of cool. It's cool that I'll tell you this, if you can get someone who doesn't like superhero shit whatsoever to like a 4-hour long one after movies of not really enjoying it, enjoy it. Maybe they're doing something right. And I will say yes, restore the Snyderverse. Even after Whedon's version came out and I heard it got canceled, like having Justice League 2 through whatever, I was pretty angry. Because even though I was disappointed with how the series was going, not to say I don't like the darkness or I missed more of the fun, but yes, I've always wanted this since I was a kid, so I'll take any version of it, even if it's bad. And at least finish it. Don't leave us hanging on a nightmare like that. Especially don't release a Snyder Cut with even more nightmare in it. It's too exciting. But at least we still got DC standalone films, even though they probably will eventually cross over, and who knows, they may actually restore the Snyderverse. But if you haven't looked into what was going to happen with the rest of the Justice Leagues, if Zack Snyder could still make them, he does get very candid about it and says his whole plan, and it's actually very interesting. I highly recommend looking that up. I will be doing DCEU some other time when The Suicide Squad comes out. But for now, thanks for listening to this one. As you see, I changed the camera angle, and my room looks better. Just for you. I also got a new editing system, so hopefully I did some cool stuff in this. Did I do pretty good? Oh. Well, that's good then. Till next time, please subscribe, comment, like, share, or don't. But do. Otherwise, I'll be sad and boo-hoo on you. But mostly me, because I'd be sad. I'm just repeating. Am I having a stroke? I hope not. Not in the double positive, which would make it negative. I think I am having a heart attack. I'm going to end this video now. Deuces.